Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a well known and accomplished and respected author from Hong Kong, Shobha Nihalani. Shobha, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Lovely to be here.
Thank you. Shobha is an author and a book coach. She is a multi-genre author with two titles published by Penguin and Hachette. She has covered almost every form of writing, which is fiction, non-fiction, and self-help. And Shobha has over 30 years of writing experience. And all of you know I am very partial to authors. And given the fact that I'm an author myself, I'm looking forward to learning from Shobha some tips for myself as well. So, Shobha, my first question. You have over 30 years of writing experience across multiple genres.
Yes.
What inspired you to become a writer?
You could say a life journey. I was born in Goa, but lived in different cities, almost five cities, until I was the age of 20.
Mm,
So I was in Africa, in Singapore, in Bombay, and Bangalore, as well as Antwerp. So you could say that my journey was conducive in having these rich experiences,
mm,
which helped me become this person that I am. And I have a passion for books.
mm,
I'm an introvert when I was a child, as well as an only child. So books were my best friends. And
mm,
that's how it evolved into me. Almost naturally, I guess, it became a situation where when I would read these books and I would be fascinated by the worlds that these authors would create.
mm,
And I said, I'd love to be an author. And it was a dream. So you could say after marriage, settling down in Hong Kong, I started my journey into writing, which was
mm,
started out as a freelance journalist and then into the creative space because I just wanted to write fiction, write novels, and thrillers was my genre
mm,
that I really love to read. So I said, write what you love. And then it led to COVID, where I switched to writing self-help books.
mm.
And then I had my training in coaching, and here I am, a book coach
How
today.
how wonderful. And would you say there was a defining moment in your writing career that has shaped the path that you have taken?
That's a very good question because there was a moment in 2015, 2016 when after writing thrillers and novels, I had the opportunity to write about a humanitarian, non-sectarian spiritual leader, Dada Vaswani.
Mm,
And I was overwhelmed. I said, will I be able to do justice to such a great person? And will I be able to write a nonfiction book,
mm,
a biography? But I took up the challenge and I was encouraged by the community as well as Sadhu Vaswani Mission and the devotees, and they gave me this space to develop a character that would be part of this journey of learning, which was my learning, spiritual learning, as well as following the path of Dada Vaswani's life story. And that changed me. That kind of gave me a direction to write about real people, about their challenges and how they overcame them. And I
mm,
feel that that's so important to write about lived experiences because there's so much to learn from them and it really empowers and transforms individuals.
mm.
And
Great,
that was the defining moment, you could
great
say.
response. Thank you. So let's now talk about the writing process and the book coaching.
Mhm.
What, in your view, are some of the common challenges a lot of aspiring authors face when they start writing?
First of all, there's this internal conflict that goes on. Am I good enough? Is this good enough? Should I be writing? There's a lot of self-doubt that creeps in.
Mm,
The other aspect is externally seeing that there are so many books out there and best-selling authors and everything that they do.
mm,
So there is this kind of fear, and sometimes this leads to mistakes that
mm,
authors make, So they want to rush into it. They want to send out an unpolished manuscript. They don't have a clear idea of what their book is going to, in which genre it's going to be in, or their target audience. So a lot of it is, first of all, to have clarity on what it is you want to do, what you want to write about, and who's your target audience. So these are small things that need to be
Right.
thought about
Yeah,
beforehand.
great points. And what are some of the key steps in your guided author system that helps professionals turn their ideas into books?
Okay, the main system here is an author-centric approach. Like
Mm,
we would want or we would as it's coaching is part of the process, so
mhm,
therefore we would deep dive into their ideas, into their objectives and their book goals. So that's why it's a guided approach, because we want them to have clarity first about who's their target audience, what is their goal as an author. Do they want to build a brand? Is it related to offerings that they have, or is it just a whim or a dream that they want to write a book?
mm,
So there are these aspects first that we would love to talk to the aspiring writer, the author with.
mm,
And then we come up with a system where understanding that as entrepreneurs and professionals, they have limited time. So we give them, like a personal trainer in a gym gives
mhm.
them guidelines and
Yeah.
tailor an approach. We
Mm,
tailor an approach so they have a clear outline of the chapters, how do they create content, editing. We offer all of those
mm.
services.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And Shobha, do you believe that it's often been said everyone has a book inside them?
Mm-hmm.
But do you believe that anyone can write a book, or are some people naturally more inclined to writing?
I guess you could say there is a midpoint there. You could have that people are inclined because they love to read, they want to be authors, they want to share their knowledge.
Mm,
But there are others who have great wisdom,
mm,
but are not really clear on how to organize their thoughts or articulate their desire to write, or how to say this, like how they want to express themselves. That's
mm,
unique and different from every other, for example, leader out there or manager out there or corporate professional out there.
mm, mm,
So I would say there is a midpoint. With perseverance, with resilience, practice, an aspiring writer can
mm,
come up with a great book,
mm.
and with the right resources and guidance as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, well
Yeah.
said, well said. Let's talk a little bit about publishing now. And one of the biggest challenges most authors face is how to get a publisher.
Mm,
But with the rise of self-publishing and hybrid publishing,
yeah.
what should aspiring authors consider when choosing who to publish with?
So I would come back to the goals. Like, what does the author hope to achieve after the book is published?
Mm,
Is it that they want to entertain? Do they want to give guidance? Do they want to help transform the audience? So they have to have clarity of the audience. They
mm,
have to have clarity of what the book is about. Is it, even if it's fiction, it's like you have to be clear. Is it which genre are you writing in?
mm,
And who's your target audience? Are they young adults? Are they adults? What direction are you going in?
mm.
So it's very important to have first that clarity before you jump in and send out a submission proposal to a publisher or even an agent, a literary agent.
Mm. Yes.
I would say there's more choices for authors nowadays.
Mm,
Aspiring writers can follow the traditional route. It's personal choice. They can also self-publish, which gives them more autonomy. They have more creative flexibility. But and maybe in terms of timelines, it's much quicker.
mm.
But of course, the disadvantages are the distribution, the marketing. There's all of these aspects to consider as well for the author. So there are
Right.
different ways now. They have a lot of choices. They can go online and learn what would be the right one for
Mm,
them.
Well said. But the other thing that I wanted to get your perspective on was that when new authors are trying to find a publisher,
Mm,
they make mistakes. And I know I made that mistake for my fifth book when I went to a very small publisher.
Mhm.
And he messed up the book completely. So, what are some of these mistakes, and how should a new author um, really tread carefully on who to go with?
Again, it is about doing research,
Mm,
having that clarity about who to go with.
mm,
And more than anything, nowadays, there's a lot of ability to reach out directly to readers, to your
mm,
audience. So
mm,
having an online presence is extremely important.
mm,
Having a following, sharing your ideas through blog posts, through newsletters, when you have that kind of traction
mm,
and people know you and understand you and you're sharing your expertise, then reaching out to a publisher and
mm,
they will see what you are all about
mm,
online, then they will maybe accept you. Like if you want to go through a traditional route,
mm,
the literary agents, the traditional publishers want to know what kind of following you have, what kind of impact are you creating.
mm,
So
mm,
the mistake I would say is that lacking the understanding of what exactly they want
mm.
and not having enough of an online presence
Right.
and also having unrealistic expectations, like the time and effort it takes to write a book. It depends on the book also, but it needs time, it needs mental space, it needs your energy.
Mm,
It's not a quick um, uh, process. It
mm.
needs that creative approach as well.
Correct.
And also reader first. I always say reader first. What is your reader going to gain from your book?
Well said. You got your own publishing house, which is Passionpreneur Publishing. Tell me about Passionpreneur Publishing and how does it differ from so many other traditional publishing houses?
Okay, so I need to correct you there. Passionpreneur Publishing is run by the CEO, Mustafa Hamwi, who
Hmm.
himself is an executive coach and an author.
Hmm.
And he came up with this idea of Passionpreneur Publishing because he felt that there are a lot of leaders, CEOs, C-suite individuals,
Hmm.
and professionals who want to share their knowledge, but don't have a clear platform on how to do it.
Correct.
And they want the complete infrastructure end to end,
Hmm.
like literally from content to cover.
Hmm.
And Passionpreneur offers this service, and I work with
Okay.
Passionpreneur, the team there, as
Hmm.
a book coach,
Okay.
guiding their authors and the clients who come in with great ideas and unique ideas. So
Yeah.
what I do is like empower them to give me something unique that they can share and help transform individuals. And that's Passionpreneur's goal. They have a guided author system which works in the sense that they have set framework, templates,
Hmm.
and a process on how to build a clear book outline, a book elevator pitch. The content and editing, of course, has to be done to a level where it's professionally, like approved and respected.
Hmm.
Like, because we think about the individual as and their reputation. So the book has to match their quality and their competency. So in that sense, we provide, say, high-end quality kind of tailored approach to make it more flexible and it's author centric. So
Hmm.
that's what Passionpreneur offers. It's
Fascinating. And thank you
yeah,
for
it is.
correcting me. I stand corrected
No
on
worry.
on
What
the
I would like to add
yeah,
there,
yeah,
and on
please.
that point, is that in my journey as a writer and as an author, I wish I had a book coach, honestly,
Hmm.
because it really helps to bounce ideas with
Correct.
somebody, and it really helps to get you to understand your thoughts through somebody's perceptions and perspectives.
Absolutely. And I'm complete agreement with you. You know how important it is to have a book coach because you can really channelize your thoughts and bounce them off someone who's got more knowledge and expertise. But sure, how important is personal branding of the author? And I know you spoke about it very briefly a few minutes ago.
Mhm.
And what strategies do you recommend for an author to build their own personal brand?
I would say, Ashutosh, I'm sure you kind of have experience in that because of the book The Brand Called You, and the main thing is to stand out in a crowded marketplace. And how do you do that? Is having something unique and authentic,
Correct.
because you don't want to be sharing something that doesn't align with your own values and vision.
Mm, mm,
And of course, having a strong online platform, um, also offline, branding yourself, sharing your ideas,
mm,
joining communities, being available to give talks and sharing your thoughts, like, for example,
mm,
on your wonderful platform,
mm,
and also to be able to be consistent.
mm,
Because if you're consistently available and sharing your posts, your newsletters,
mm,
um, reiterating of what your journey has been about, your vulnerabilities, and then, so people resonate with you
mm.
because you're not standing on a mountaintop and saying, you should do this, you
Correct.
should do this. You
Correct.
should be there to share that I went through this and
Mm,
you can too. And
absolutely.
this is what I offer you in that journey. So being authentic and unique
Mm.
is so important.
Great advice. So, Shubha, I've got a few more questions, and I'm going to now come to you to ask you some questions on how do you market a book? That's another area that I've always struggled with publishers because publishers tell me my job is to publish, your job is to market. So, my question is beyond writing a book, what are some key strategies you think authors should use to promote their, you know, huge amount of work that they've put into writing their book?
I totally agree with you that it is a struggle. I've been through it. I know what it entails.
Mm,
And yes, the publishers put the responsibility on the authors to do the due diligence and to walk the talk and
mm,
to actually soldier along and share their books to every Tom, Dick, and Wendy, if you
mm,
want.
mm, mm,
So, what I would recommend is before you write a book, first of all, be very clear who you are,
mm,
what's your goals, and do you want to be an entrepreneur? Is
mm.
that authorpreneur? Like, is
Correct.
that the goal of the book?
Mm,
Is it to promote your, say, your coaching business or whatever business you're in?
mm.
Or is it to share an expertise? So, having clarity about that, then building a platform. An online platform is so important.
Correct.
Offline, being part of networks, communities, like-minded individuals, people in your space, and
Mm,
sharing your expertise,
yeah.
joining workshops.
Mm,
So those are key elements that need to be done. And if you have a book ready, pre-launch, start a buzz. Talk to
mm,
influencers, the media, get
mm,
your book out there, talk to your friends, talk to family,
correct.
spread the word, basically,
Mm,
and then continue to keep sharing the ideas from the book
mm,
and through podcasts, posts, and continue
mm,
keep
mm,
being consistent
mm. I agree. I
on that
mean,
journey.
I think the key factor you're telling everyone is that consistency is the very, very important factor.
Mm,
You know, keep getting your message out to your chosen audience. I have time for two more questions for you.
yeah.
In today's digital age, what role does social media play in book marketing, and how can authors leverage Amazon, Goodreads, and so many other similar platforms?
It's it's very powerful because digital media has leveled the playing field so that an author can connect directly with their readers. So it is a very powerful place to actually promote yourself, to promote your book, and to provide guidance if you have something, right? To share your ideas with the world.
Mm,
Now, because of that, there are a lot of people in the marketplace in the digital world.
mm,
So having a clear author brand identity, it's very important. I mean, you have a great identity, you have the brand called you, and a great service where you're bringing people together. So
mm,
it's almost like a calling. And that's so real,
mm.
people love that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So when you consistently share, you host all of these sessions, and also if they have live streaming, reading. So the digital media is very powerful in spreading your knowledge as an author. Now, Amazon, Goodreads, they're book focused. They're a huge platform. So encourage readers to share their reviews. That really helps because I myself, when I buy books, then I look at the reviews as well, and then I buy the book. So um, keep doing this consistently and talk about your books wherever
Mm.
you can. And yeah, show up. Basically, if you have an invitation to show up and give a talk about your book, about what you're sharing, your vision, your values, then go ahead and do that. Spread the word around and be consistent. Like, don't be disappointed.
Mm.
Sometimes it takes time to develop your presence, but just be consistent and it'll happen.
Well said. And my last question to you, Shobha, and I know you told me right in the beginning of our conversation that your best friends were your books, and I've heard this from so many different authors that I don't mind the writing, but I'm an introvert. And what you're telling me towards the end of our conversation is go out and talk about your book
It was
and
a challenge
accept
for
all your
me.
invitations, right?
It was stepping out of my comfort zone because I had written books, and then this was this new direction, and I was very much challenged by
Correct.
it.
Correct.
But I knew I had to do it, and it was a challenge, definitely.
So, therefore, my last question to you, and I know it may be a little bit of repetition, but
Yeah.
it's important. What advice would you give to someone who has published a book
Hmm.
but is struggling to gain traction with readers?
I would say that, of course, having a strong website, author presence, and very clear idea.
Mm.
Okay, don't share too much. Simple, clear idea. And for example, if I wrote a book on self-esteem in a selfie world, and I was very clear on what self-esteem is, and I was also consistently mentioning it that it was common more amongst women.
Mm.
Not that it's not common amongst men, but there are different ways to look at it. But then having a consistent message on that main hub and then creating sub hubs out of that. So self-esteem related to self-confidence, to related to imposter syndrome, to inner critic. So you can write all that related topics,
Mm.
subtopics
Mm.
to the main core concept of self-esteem.
Mm.
So have a clear idea of what is your core concept, what
Mm.
is it that you want the reader to understand from you and learn
Mm.
from you.
Mm.
So having that clarity is very important. So
Well said.
once you have that, then it's all over your brand online. So
Mm.
whether it's your website, your blog post, your newsletter, your social media platforms, you should be consistently sharing the same kind of theme and
Mm.
message
Mm.
that would impact the reader. So be
Mm.
consistent on who you are, the uniqueness. And that's why we always like to create a book elevator pitch because it's a
Mm.
pitch and you want to be very clear about your pitch to an audience.
Mm. Amazing. And on that note, Shobha, and your important points of getting a book coach and consistency, thank you so much for speaking to me about your own journey and what were some of the defining moments that really helped you to focus on your writing career. Sadhu Vaswani ji is a well-known name, and to have been given an opportunity to write about him was quite amazing. Thank you for talking to me about the most common challenges aspiring authors face, about your guided author system. You talked to us about self-publishing and hybrid publishing, some of the common mistakes people make, the importance of personal branding. We also spoke about passionpreneur publishing and how important it is to be able to handle the digital age well, because that's something we are seeing is here to stay. Thank you for speaking
Right.
to me, Shobha, and all the very best to you.
Thank you, Ashutosh. I really enjoyed having a chat with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the brand called You.